So another member of the mafia, Belgian mafia, is Longeval Caroline, my sister. She's living with her husband Sham Shadrach at the address 5 Rue Terraque in the village of Wannebeek, near Tournai. What I can say is that she has always been the confidant of my mother, the Costa Betty. She was the one who, while my mother was weak, had been entrusted with managing her bank accounts, managing her finances. So she was playing a prominent role in this mafia laundering, together with Pierre Van Yperseel. She knew about everything, as she was the one who was entrusted with managing the finances of my mother. And of course she was acting intensively with, in close collaboration with Pierre Van Yperseel. Longeval Caroline is the one who partially breached the Omerta rule and burst into tears in September 2013, revealing that my mother had so lent one of her bank accounts at Belfius Bank to Mr. Pierre Van Yperseel, and that bank account was in fact used in what she called parallel placement, placement parallèle, she said. So a kind of, without revealing, of course, that the other hand of that illegal financial construction, she only talked about my mother who lent the bank account, but she didn't talk, of course, about me. She revealed to me that my name had been used behind my back. Of course, that we discovered later. So, Longeval Caroline, very important person in that mafia money laundering scheme. She manipulated envelopes also with money. She revealed herself that she was doing that. Then Longeval, it has to be said also about Longeval Caroline that she is also a member of the mafia. She's participated in all mafia proceedings against us in Belgium. Also Longeval Nicolas, my brother, also always knew about everything, what was happening behind my back, behind the back of my ex-wife and behind the back of my children, with the complicity of my mother. And Longeval Nicolas, his last address known to us, but he might have of course moved out since we have no contacts for long now, was Rue de la Mutualité in Uccle, in the district of Uccle, which is a district of Brussels. Longeval Nicolas pretends that he doesn't know about anything, pretends that he has nothing to do with anything, but he was also there, always there, at each mafia proceedings. He was playing a prominent role in each mafia proceedings in Belgium. There is Longeval Bernard also, my other brother, who is homeless as far as I know. And of course he also participated in the mafia activities against me and my wife and my 2 children. Then there is, of course, I told you about Nicolas Dewey, very important person, very important, very big mafia member, cyber criminal. I told you about Lieven van den Ede, cyber criminal at my workplace, the Federal Public Service Social Security. I told you about Emmanuel Thiel, big money launderer. I would like to also talk about maybe another member which I highly supposed has performed money laundering is Olivier Meunier, which is a big friend of Thiel Emmanuel. They used to go on holiday together, and he's a worker at a telecommunication company, Belgian telecommunication company, and it's not the Belgian telecommunication company is the one who installed so these illegal spying device we discovered, I and my ex-wife, in our home on January 2018. Yes. There is. I told you about Nathalie Van Gelu. Nathalie Van Gelu is a lawyer in Flanders. lawyer with office in the city of Kokzijde, Belgium, at the seaside, and she was supposed to defend the interests of the children, but she pursued the same goals as mafia boss Vincent Junta, namely force our children into acceptance of the legacy of their Belgian grandmother. We had to fire her and Mr. Vincent Junta in March 2017. I didn't tell you about Philippe Verzip. Philippe Verzip is a lawyer with office Koninklijke Baan, number 60, in the city of De Panne in Belgium. What happens is that this lawyer, actually, the mafia is always like that. They help each other. So, for example, there is always a mafia member who is a lawyer of other mafia members. There is a mafia member who is public notary of other mafia members, and things like this. He's the counselor of Longueval Nicolas, Longueval Bernard, and Longueval Caroline, and he is involved. He's the one who told us, also me and my ex-wife, once when we met with him, without knowing that we had to deal with the mafia. He told us, here are our enemies, although we were just there to see to it that the children could dismiss the legacy. He was talking, here are our enemies. The enemies of whom? The mafia. And also, he's the one who, he was there on March the 9th, 2017, when I and my ex-wife were invited, to public notary Wim Maas with office Witteburg 100 GV001 in the city of Oostduinkerke, Belgium. He's the one who at the district court of Veurne, not Bruges but Veurne, he's the one who asked people there to nominate public notary Wim Maas so that he would be in charge of liquidating the legacy of my mother Kazabati, while actually his role was with the purpose of making a fake inventory or a mafia-like inventory of the goods of my mother, the Kostabeti. So he's deeply involved. Then there is also Lieven van den Ede, I told you. This is a cyber criminal at the Federal Public Service Social Security. His activities were covered under the nickname or the job title of Information Security Officer, and many people at the Federal Public Security knew about that, and of course they were bound by the rule of omerta towards me, while my computer was silently cracked down. This knew about that. Mistress Cindy Yossa, a colleague of mine, Mr. Christophe, can't remember his name again. Of course, my boss, Christian Hutz, and of course other members like Secretary of the Big Boss of the Federal Public Service Security, Natasha Knappen, and the Big Boss of course, the Federal Public Service Security, Frank van Massenhoven. All knew about what was going on while I was working there, and while I was using also my professional computer for teleworking at home. Okay, I told you about yes, I would like to talk to you about also of course, all people, as I told you, participating in Mafia Proceeding 16-1553A at the District Court of West Flanders, Division of Bruges, are all members of the Mafia and have all most probably laundered money, because they must have had the personal interest in participating in such Mafia proceedings. This is the case of course, the mayor of the city of De Panne in Belgium, where my mother was living when she died. That is Bortierlaan 4, number 4, K001. That was a last residence at the seaside in Belgium, in the city of De Panne. and the mayor of the city of the Pan is also participating in it, as well as the town council of the city of the Pan, because they are the one who, under the mafia conspiracy, actually, were asking local taxes to our children, while our children actually could not be asked to pay such a tax because they could never be presumed in advance as being heirs and heirs to their grandmother, de Costa-Betty, and owner of her flat. But the aim was that, of course, they had to find something to start a procedure. But the aim was that they couldn't do it if, of course, there was nothing to start the procedure. So they had to invent like something mere trifle, like a tax. But of course, they couldn't do it without after that doing everything so that the children would accept the legacy. They had to presume the children in advance as being heirs to the legacy. Otherwise, the city of the Pan could never ask anything. So the aim was that she would ask something so that there would be something to start at mafia proceedings. We would react, and Mr. Vincent Junta told us that we should react. We have to enter these mafia proceedings by contesting the will, the request of the city of the Pan, of course, which was illegal because she had no right to do it. But he didn't tell us at that time. And so we contested. And of course, it's only the aim was that then the children would then be forced to accept the legacy. That, of course, it was necessary to get the approval to accept the legacy. That approval had to come from competent justices of the peace, and that's why also the mafia did everything so that the competent justice of the peace, Mr. Léon Deneuve de Kertochin, would actually grant us the authorization to accept the legacy. That's why also a fake inventory of the goods of Mr. Cossetti has been made, hiding the danger that is related to the secret use of the bank account of my mother Costa-Betty by the mafia. All this is hidden because the purpose, on March 9th, 2017, the purpose of the inventory, which was also illegal because fake statements have been attributed to us, while we didn't know anything about the legacy, but I told about that earlier. The aim was also that to hide, of course, to the competent justice of the peace, all the danger related to the secret use of a bank account of Mistress de Costa-Betty by the mafia. That's why also this inventory was not thorough, was not accurate, and was definitely not real. And yes. So I heard it about Winmass, I think. No, I heard about the city of the Pan. And so the mayor, of course, had no right to presume the children in advance as being heirs to the legacy of their Belgian grandmother. They had no right to ask the payment of a tax. And also, of course, not only that, but we have dismissed the legacy. The children have legally dismissed the legacy. We introduced a paper stating that children have dismissed the legacy. So normally the role of the mayor and of the town council was to cancel all taxes unconditionally and with retroactive effect until the date of death of the Belgian grandmother, the Costa-Betty. But instead of doing that, they made a fake paper stating, okay, the taxes are normally cancelled, except if the children are forced back into acceptance of the legacy, which is totally illegal. Thank you very much.